See that Diane, Linda, myself are present for the trustees, Rosemary and Donna and Dan Cobb for the H2O Solutions.
And Ken is on Zoom.
And Ken on Zoom. First item on the agenda is changes and additions to, just additions to the agenda. Does anyone have any or changes? The next item is to review and approve minutes of 2 trustee meetings, the regular meeting of April 11th and the special meeting. I don't see it on here.
Well, Donna just sent those out today.
Just like last night, so people might not have all had a chance to read it yet.
Okay,
Because it was only last week.
so is there a motion to approve the minutes? Or are there any changes to those minutes? I already asked that. Is there a motion to approve those minutes for the April 11th regular meeting?
No motion.
Second? There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It passes unanimously. Treasurer's report, Rosemary.
Okay, you should have a budget status report in the packet. Okay, on the general department, both Waterville and Belvedere have paid their first installment for fire sales. And a lot of the income for the general department won't show up until after we bill taxes and policy is not paid until November. Along with and the rents we could pay anytime now for the electric and water and sewer. Reports are good through last Friday with payroll. Does not include any of which we are signing big packet we're signing tonight. Regarding the electric. Sales to date for the first 4 months. 34% of the budget. And the power cost for the first two months are at 25%.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And usually our power costs are more in the winter than they are in the summer. So summer rates are down.
Is there anything that kind of stands out for you?
Yeah, no, not at this point. We're not very far into the year.
Right.
Water sales, we're at 30%. First 4 months.
Is that pretty normal for any other year? Not COVID, just a regular year,
I think
30%?
from a normal year, it's down.
It is down.
Yeah, we're up from last year, but still generally.
What does water sales mean?
That means how much you have sold for how many gallons of water you've sold. So it's by meter readings. And
So it's
so
an
the
indication.
college has tightened up their system a lot. So they were down drastically due to COVID. They've come back up, but not up to where they were 3-4 years ago. But a lot of that, I don't think is sales. They had a lot of leaks up there. That they were paying for water going in the ground. So that's made a difference. But their sales are up from last year significantly. So.
But we're also getting into our water consumption time, correct?
What was that? What's that, Ken?
And we're also getting into our water using time, correct?
Correct. But yeah, they use much more water during the summer than they do in the winter. So
That makes sense. Any other questions about the budget? So you don't see any big red
Everything-
flags, Mary?
Not yet. Sewer assessments are at 34%.
So everything's looking on track with our budget. Everything's looking on track, Rosemary?
Yes,
the only thing that will look odd, especially for the next one, is going to be the heat at the wastewater plant. Because our propane tanks are like 50%, and the only thing that runs during the summer is our emergency generator. But we're going to fill those tanks because if we had an extended outage for some, it could be difficult to fill. So we'll have them filled for the summer, and that'll last us right through. So we'll go probably to 60% of our total heat by next month, but it's going to last for the next
How
5 or
big are the
6 months.
tanks?
So
How big are
we have 2,000 gallon tanks.
probably all heat categories of the spend.
Yeah, and we didn't plan on quite this much, price wise.
What's this building? Is this heated with oil? This building is propane.
they? But that would be a different tank.
Yeah, right.
Anybody else?
And I have 2 lead releases.
I see them. So they've paid off past debt, that's what this is.
Yes,
So I'm the one who has to sign this, correct?
yes.
On the 9th. And
It's for Daniel,
you'll be the witness? Or,
one for Daniel Cutting at 115 Park Street in the amount of $187.28.
uh-huh,
And the other one is for Matt Moran at 136 Park Street in the amount of $95.84.
What was the first balance again, Rosemary?
187.28.
Thank you.
I believe both those figures have been sold. That's all from all that I have to report.
okay, we're gonna have to skip over RJ, and I don't see Sophia here unless she's on Zoom.
I'm actually here.
Oh, okay, Shane, great. So you're up.
All right, thank you for having us. So there are, I guess, 2 different items on the agenda here. I am here to speak to the first. I don't have all of the details for the facility use agreement. And I guess the hope was that Jeff Bickford would be able to make it to speak to that, but I haven't heard back from him. As to the flying in progress pride flag, we had approved a couple of different motions at our last meeting. One was to fly the Progress Pride flag down at the village green for the month of June, and the other was to fly the same flag here on the flagpole for the month of June. We remembered the conversation that happened a couple of years ago surrounding flying certain items here. So we wanted to make sure that if we were going to have that conversation again, we could at least get the flag flown down in the village green and also have the option of doing it here as well. So we think it's a pretty simple request, and we hope that the trustees will adopt it and we can get those flags flying
Where would it be flown here?
on the flagpole out there.
Which flag are you taking down?
Well, that's a good question. At the village green, it would be replacing the Black Lives Matter flag for a month, and here it would be, I guess that's what
Would it go
trustees.
under a flag?
It can go under,
How does Laraway have to do it? They took flags.
I think they have 3. It's the American, the Black Lives, and then the Pride. I think it's 3.
Okay, I think our policy states that we can only have 2 flags on that pole.
Right, on the village green, right?
Excuse me?
On the village green, that pole has
Correct.
2. Right,
So last time we took down the Black Lives Matter flag on the village green while we flew the pride flag. Is that correct? I think.
Yes.
yes.
That's what it is.
Shane, it's the same flag as last year,
Yes, Ken.
so it's the proper size.
I believe if it was the proper size last year, I wasn't on the committee at the time, but if it was the right size last year, then it's the same one this year.
I think it just had to be smaller than the American flag.
I believe that's
Yes.
correct.
Yes, it definitely is. And currently is only one that we own, but the plan is if you guys were to authorize both flags, that we have authorized the expense of purchasing another one. So we have the money in our budget to cover that. Or at least not budget, but in the money that we've got from grants and such, so.
Okay, so I'd motion that we allow the Racial Justice Committee to use the pride flag for the month of June in replacement of BLM flag.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that takes care of the village green, but what about here?
Well, there's nothing else on the agenda about any other flag being on there. And we know last time we mentioned the flag being on anywhere over there, it caused a big stir. So I suggest if we are going to do that, that you need to warn that so the public can come.
that's true. Maybe we want to come back at the next one, because it isn't on the agenda.
Right,
And
yeah, specifically warrant, right?
yeah, and then you know what else we'll do is we can look at, you know, with the poles we have there, if you can have 3 on a pole, we'll look into that. That would be something to do. I don't either. I can't remember what the whole situation was with those poles, but let's look into that.
Yeah, one concern that was expressed at our last meeting was, just looking at the flagpole down in the village green with 2 flags on it, on windier days, it can bend and sway a fair bit. So I'm not sure whether this one is a little more sturdy or not, but, obviously we don't want to overburden it, so.
Right. I mean, I think the one on the village green, like that American flag is way bigger than the one here, I think, but I don't know. And then we'll
Okay.
discuss that.
Okay.
Last year there was talk about putting that flag on.
I'm sorry, so
Last year there was some talk about putting that flag on the jury. Flagpole is such an issue.
Yeah,
yeah, I remember, I remember that with the Black Lives Matter thing a couple of years ago, and I guess I do remember it that way. I'll trust your memory.
Don't be trusted.
We've all.
it was mentioned
Yeah.
Right, was mentioned.
And part of the reason that we did the two different motions the way that we did was because we, like I said, we were aware that there was that kind of conversation last time around, and we wanted to make space for it this time, if, you know, that's something that needs to happen. And I have just received notice that Sophia is gonna be able to make it down to speak to the other item, so. Should be back next year.
Is that it then?
That's it for the Pride Promise flag. Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to come back to the other bit when Sophia gets here, that would be appreciated.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Hi, RJ.
I guess you're up, Dan.
You want to do what I did first? He was first on the agenda.
Yeah, you're actually right on the agenda right now, so it's perfect time.
Okay.
And then we can, you're probably a little tired from being out, and you look a little like some smoke under the eyes, maybe?
Yeah, it's been a busy day. So, tonight I'm here as a voice for 1159 Footbrook Road, which is Jen's Promise, at the 405 Railroad Street location, no apartment Stearns. So, two things to ask. The first one is, back in December, Greg and Don, Jen's Promise, got preliminary allocation for the coffee roaster building. You had your standard conditions for receipt of applicable state permits. They have completed that, so Ruggiano Engineering out of St. Albans, that's the project engineer. Greg simply asked me to just come and be able to try to speak and answer questions because I'm familiar with some of the
Okay.
requirements. So the first thing is they have received their Act 250 administrative amendment, and they've received their WW permit, so that's their wastewater supply permits. And typically before, that stuff would have gone to the manager's office and then, but so the first thing we ask is to complete the current application, just so Connie doesn't get caught it and get up against the deadline.
Okay, it looks nice from the outside. I haven't been in, but
So they're not doing anything in those buildings now? They're not coffee roasting now?
They have started, yeah, I don't know what their schedule is, but they have gotten their permits, they have gone through their public building stuff in terms of, you know, your electrical inspections and all that. So they are essentially ready to use that as a occupied business. I'm not aware of what their schedule is. I don't know if it's regular or special events. I can't tell you from the permit side of things.
But they're not doing it right, they're not roasting coffee there now, right? Or are
They have started. I don't know if they are
I think so.
today, but
they? Oh,
they have used the process that was established, yes.
and there's no reason, Dan, our well and the sewer treatment plant has all the capacity for us to approve these permits, correct?
Yep.
They want us to get more sewer.
What's that?
Said they want more sewer. We want more.
More paying customers.
I guess I know we did the prior approval and this is the final one, but for the other ones, we do have plenty of water. Because I know we have plenty of sewer capacity.
Yep, same with water.
Same with water. Okay, because I know we lost the NATO one.
Dan, just.
But that had nothing to do with flow. That was only an emergency well that hasn't been used in 30 years, so.
Just to be clear, Dan, what was it for the percentage we can still take on? Was it 35%?
For the wastewater?
There,
For wastewater, we're running less than 50% capacity. When you hit 80% capacity, then you have to file with the state and whatever, so we're way away from that.
so whatever,
And the water, I mean, we're still well under what we're even pumping 3 years ago, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Well, I guess I'm looking for a motion then on this first application for the coffee roasting building.
So I make a motion to final approve the water and sewer connection for the coffee roasting operation at 405 Railroad Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
Linda, second. Further discussion? Okay, we'll vote all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. It passes unanimously. So you want to present the second one? I think?
You guys need to sign that on the second page.
All of us?
Yep.
On this one or this,
Yeah, the bottom one.
the bottom one? Okay, RJ, you can start telling us about the second one.
Okay, so the same ownership, 1159 Woodward Road, LLC, again, Dragon Donner, the principal, Jennison is the business. Also at this 405 Railroad Street, the prior Packer and Stearns building, they would like to construct 2 multi-unit residential buildings. So the way we presented it is, they are identical buildings, identical flows, but we presented it as 2 applications. I think that is easier for the municipality and the village because there's some expirations and stuff, so a stage potentially could get completed. And I think the paperwork is cleaner. So we have submitted 2 applications for an 8-unit residential building. I don't know what was in your packet as far as materials.
I just made copies of the actual application.
Okay, do you have a site map of the?
We have this beautiful thing. 8 by 10 glossy.
I did that for myself, so I know where they were. Good job.
So in the center of it is Railroad Street, and you can probably recognize the old Parker and Stearns building. So across from Parker and Stearns building, adjacent to Creamery Road, there was a storage shed that was removed, and they proposed to build an 8-unit residential living building there. That would have proposed connections to municipal water and sewer by way of coming out to the street in the manhole for the sewer, and having a corporation on the main, which is also on Railroad Street. So that would be a gravity sewer proposal with a municipal water service connection.
How many bedrooms are these units?
6 of the units will be 2 bedrooms, and 2 of the units will be 1 bedroom in each building. So we have 8 units. 6 of the 8 will be 2s, 2 of them will be 1s.
The big building that's there. This is Mansfield Lumbers.
Is which is that C3 that you're looking at, Steve?
Here's the yellow, that's C3.
Okay, so in the middle of your drawing is Railroad Street, and in the top left, you should see a sort of a darker rectangular building. Maybe the building most left on your map, that's the proposed building number 1, 8 units.
Like to the left of Creamery Road.
If you were,
I am like this. So Railroad Street is here.
it would be
Creamery Road
to
is
the
here.
right.
it would be to the right,
So-
Creamery Road, right,
Yes. This is the Parker Stearns that's in here, this blank space here, and then here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Right on the corner of Creamery and Brew.
okay.
Right, so they're.
Where the sheds are now.
That's correct, yep, some of the sheds have come down. So that is a proposed building site, again, that will use a proposed conventional wastewater connection and manhole and water supply. They also own the property that extends down to River Road East, adjacent to the Manchester lumber property. On your second sheet, C4.
Yeah.
That one would represent an identical building footprint, so the same building, the same 8 units, the same 6-bedroom by 2 units by 1 bedroom. That one is proposing to use a sewer lift station to come back up near the intersection of River Road and Railroad Street for its connection, and then a water service line off of the main, which is running down River Road East. So the difference on that building would be that it would use a lift station to get to the municipal service, where the other one by Creamery Road is by gravity.
And where on this map is that building? The other one's at the corner of Creamery and Railroad, and this one.
See, this river road is here, it's gonna be over here.
Yeah, that's what I thought in the first thought. That's why, yeah, sit right next to Manchester.
He's putting 8 apartments there,
Correct.
8 units.
In each building is proposing 2 individual buildings. Yeah. They're all on the property that is identified right now as 405. So,
All Old Parker and Stearns is called 405, not how big it is.
right now, because the parcel size the parcel configuration hasn't changed.
Right.
They're starting to develop multiple operations, which, at some point might have their own physical, probably, but from a parcel standpoint, from what is been assigned to it, 405 is still the number.
And I guess one big question I would have is some of this operated as a not-for-profit and some as a profit, or how does that mix work, or?
So I don't know that I totally have that answer, Steve. In my experience with them, the property is owned by 1159 Footbrook Road LLC. The primaries are Greg and Don. Jenna's promising that is a store operation by itself with its own management structure. It has its own operating entity. Jenna's roasting in terms of coffee is another entity.
Okay, so they're separate. They're separate.
I don't know what their filing status is, but what I have experienced so far is that each of the expansions operate as their own management style, as essentially as a tenant on the land, because so far there hasn't been any parceling of the property.
So we don't know whether the apartments are for,
Right, so,
we're gonna house people or whether they're.
That
sometimes
was-
I'd like to speak to Greg about that, as either as a board or both as a board and just personally, but.
We should.
I don't see how that make a bit of difference, Steve. What if it's nonprofit or for profit? It's about a sewer hookup and water hookup. There's no zoning in Johnson to state whether it's needs to be profit or nonprofit. Again, we just heard that we're operating under 50%, and every hookup we do is money for the village.
Yeah, I have no question, I have no problem with approving that, that's just a question.
Curiosity. He's here to
Well,
answer
I just
questions.
wanted to make sure that wasn't any consideration, because there's no stipulations on anything like that.
Yeah, it's just my own,
Yep.
All the water and sewer hookup fees have been paid for both of those projects, and it was over $20,000.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm looking for another motion for the 2 apartment buildings.
I make a motion for preliminary approval for the water and sewer allocation for an 8-unit building on Railroad Street for 1169 Footbrook LLC.
Second.
Also.
Can you second it? Any more discussion? All in favor?
I
Aye.
And chair votes in favor as well, so it's unanimous. Thank you, RJ.
I
Okay,
think
so,
we need to do another one for the other one.
Oh, is one more?
Yeah.
well, we did it as 2 applications.
Okay, 2 applications,
Each building
sorry.
paid separate.
All right, so Another motion for the second one.
It's basically the same. Oh, no, sorry. Preliminary approval for water and sewer allocation for an 8-unit building on River Road East for
Second.
159 Putvain LLC.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes in favor as well, so it passes unanimously. So we'll get these signed for you, RJ.
RJ, thank Greg for bringing in a bunch of units into the village.
I will pass it on. Yes, thank you guys for supporting. Again, I'm here as a voice because I know some of the people are not necessarily trying to promote it, just trying to make it a little easier to bridge the gap.
And while you're here, you want to do that real quickly, please? The fire department reports. As long as you're here. You should.
Hey, RJ, as this progresses, can you just forward me the plans just for the pump station? I know it's going to be theirs, but I just want to make sure that it's spec'd correctly. If you want.
Yep, I will pass that on, and so I'll try to make a note in my file. Because Ruggiano Engineering is his consultant. You may actually see some of that through the Act 250 process.
Okay.
If not, I'll try to make a little.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure, you know, I've seen some of these that go in and they end up being undersized and cause problems, and, you know, so, and just discussion about routine maintenance and that type of thing with them.
Depending on how good our note taking is, that could be conditioned in the permit. So the fire department report for the period of March 31st through April 28th. Johnson responded to 11 calls. 5 of those calls occurred during the daytime. 6 of those calls occurred during the nighttime. The average call duration was 51 minutes. The nature of the calls: 1 CO alarm, 1 vehicle crash, 1 medical assist, 1 odor investigation, 3 automatic alarms, 1 mutual aid for a structure fire, and 3 that were cataloged as others. They were an electrical problem, an unpermitted burn, and a person stuck in an elevator. Staffing: the average number of firefighters that responded was 11. The total hours of service was 80. For points of interest, those oil repairs that we've been fighting with are completed, at least to now, and the system is operating. We had an air leak on the building sprinkler system. That's been patched. We're awaiting parts and scheduled to get final repairs, but that system will be patched and then put back into operation. On a positive note, we successfully submitted a grant to the Vermont Electric Co-op Community Fund for the helmet replacement project. We were just recently awarded that. So through the ability to negotiate the price a little bit through the VEC grant, the village's earmarked funds, and the donation fundraising money that the firefighters put into place, we have placed the order to replace our helmets in the amount of $10,365. We anticipate delivery to be in about a month. Sure. And that's the end of the fire department.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. What's in your fire call report? You said automated call. What is that?
Automatic alarm.
Automatic.
Yeah, so more and more buildings are trending to go to additional detection. So especially your public buildings, you know, that are not owner occupied, they'll have carbon monoxide alarms, they'll have fire alarms. And so if a detector trips, if a device trips, it sets the building alarm off. That is monitored by a receiving company that then dispatches the call. So we are running more and more automatic alarms, just essentially, I think, due to the nature of new construction, renovations to other than
But they're mostly commercial buildings? Are they commercial? Not necessarily.
Many of them are, so when you say commercial, many of them are multi-unit living units that are under the public building ordinance because they're not owner occupied. Commercial buildings, you know, some of your infrastructure buildings, those don't tend to be the ones. It's usually the residential stuff. And a portion of them, with some of your seasonal occupation or occupancies, there's more people now that are putting some monitoring devices in their residences, especially when they go on.
But do they get charged if those get tripped at all now?
No, we currently do not have an ordinance. No, the answer is no.
And how much was the grant from DEC?
1,000.
So you
We
replaced,
got a whole bunch of different pieces of money for one fairly nice sized pot for the helmets.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, since we sort of learned of it as a situation that we were not aware of, I mean, it was essentially a safety concern. I'm very pleased that through a combination of different resources, we could satisfy this and you know, get it taken care of in a timely manner, because this is the first time in my experience in the fire department, it's the first time it's coming.
so you said you replaced all the helmets, so you got everybody's helmet replaced, Art?
Yes, that's correct. So as it turns out, there was only, I only had 2 that were within the manufacturer's time period, within the manufacturer's expiration. They had less than 2 years left. So all of the firefighters are going to get identical new helmets that will all meet the NFPA requirement. And then the task in front of us, as you mentioned before, is preparing for that cycle, because it's a 10-year from date of manufacture cycle. So we accomplished super improvement, but the reality is the work really needs to be prepared for the next cycle.
Just like trucks and everything else, you need to have it in your plan.
Yeah, right, and that's eventually I will make a presentation, but that is what I think is the safest method to be prepared for this, is to have a small appropriation put into the savings account, because we should be able to, we know our time period. What we've done with the trucks is we took the current price and applied an inflationary factor, so we should be able to know where we need to be 10 years down the road. And
Well,
that's successful.
I mean, if we do that and plan on sticking 1,000 away for that each year, that's going to cover us pretty easily. So one more question. I know we had, it was a while back, we had a discussion about the new rescue masks with communication in them. Have you brought in any more of them, or are you still at the amount that you discussed last time?
I'm not sure that I heard. What was the first part of the question?
You told us you got some new rescue masks with communication in them.
Yes.
Have you upgraded any more, or are you still at the same amount?
No, we are still at the same amount. So that was through the air pack purchase, through the SCBA purchase. And the way that works, that equipment has a fairly long run cycle. I can't remember offhand, but it's something in the 15-year range. And so the trucks were outfitted with the ability to have adequate protective gear. And then the personnel that have met the department standard for interior stuff were issued a personal mask with a communication ability. So the communications is new for us, so that's an upgrade. But also one of the things that I'm more pleased with too is being able to issue the personal equipment, so that the same person is wearing the same stuff from a hygiene standpoint, from a maintenance standpoint. And that stuff is serving us adequately. We're not seeing the need to change.
Now, one more thing. I see on Facebook the other day, there was a post about your workout dodgeball and your full gear. Is that planned to happen again? Because I think we could get some people that will want to watch that.
So I have to get back to you on that, because I'm not sure.
Nobody answered who the winner was, so I was curious.
We try to do some of those every once in a while. Sometimes there's department challenges. We use that sometimes as a drill. Honestly, it's not totally up to speed on what that current message was.
Thank you, RJ.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art.
Oh, can we, I don't know where I am going to land on the agenda.
Sure, please, go ahead.
Oh, okay, so, I
You-
mean,
Because
you switched the two and
yeah.
And Shane has already come to talk
then you
about.
did the flag. Okay, and then you said the June, so I'll do the June bit.
Yes.
Okay, if we're still in the public comment.
We're on the agenda.
More on the, yeah.
Go on.
Okay, okay, yeah, so Jeff, Pittsburgh, I believe sent you the facility use agreement for the Village Green, for June 19th. You all have that? Oh, yeah, okay, great,
Well, it's signed by you. Oh, yeah, right here.
awesome. Yeah, so Juneteenth, as I'm sure a lot of you know, it's a nationally recognized holiday. And we were, the Racial Justice and Social Equity Committee is planning just a celebration on the Village Green. Saturday, I believe, Saturday, June 19th. No, it's a Sunday, so it'll be Sunday, June 19th. And we're hoping to have some kids books about the history of Juneteenth and some storytelling and some light snacks that will be provided by the committee. A lot of different towns around the state are having events celebrating Juneteenth, so we wanted Johnson to be on the map and have a small rural celebration.
Are you looking for a motion, Mr. Chair? This is same thing they did last year, so I see no issues with it.
Okay. Are you making it?
I am, if you're looking for one.
I'm looking for one. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So,
Thank you.
thank you, and good luck with it.
Thanks.
Hope you have a great turnout.
We'll see you there.
Yes.
Thank you. You want to sign this? You want to sign it?
And then the pride flags hanging as I do the screen, so I agree. The
Yes.
rest of the month of June. Great. Okay, thank you so much.
Hey, Rosemary,
Yeah.
could you get me the packet for ready tomorrow when I come in? Especially the one with the map for Greg stuff, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think you're up now, Dan. After a brief intermission.
No problem. All right, the EDMR and WR43 were submitted to the state. Pratt Electrical was able to source a replacement speed control knob for the belt press. They installed a new one and it ran great during our last press run. We met with the representative for Bearing Specialties Company. We went over the final measurements and ordered 3 rollers, a new gear drive, dock blades for the belt press. The only thing we still have to order are the grease seals to replace at the same time. We're waiting to hear on the availability on those. It's gonna be 13 to 16 weeks for delivery. So the belt press rehab will be pushed back probably to the end of summer, which is fine because it's a lot cooler in that room at that time of year. So, but as soon as we get the parts, we'll start replacing them as we in between the runs and stuff. So it may take us a couple months to get it all replaced, but. We cleaned up all the grounds from the winter debris and lawn damage. We removed the snow blower attachment from the lawnmower and put on the mower deck. We started scraping the loose paint from the walls down in the effluent dry well, now that it's actually dry there. And all of the fire extinguishers at the wastewater plant, water plant, and pump houses were serviced and certified. We started servicing it and replacing UV bulbs that were blown. I need to place another order for bulbs so we can finish the second bank of bulbs. While Wind River was performing the monthly grit channel cleaning, we had them drain the UV channel as well. This allowed us to pressure wash the UV walls and channel and remove any of the solids from the channel without discharging anything into the river. Tim removed all the rust and painted all of the piping and pumps in the sludge pump room. This is the room that had a lot of rust due to it was the room that always got flooded during high water. That room has been sealed now, so hopefully we won't see any more flooding in that room in the future. On the water side, the coliform samples were negative. We had one alarm at Clay Hill Booster Station. Steve notified me of a red light on at the building. Luke was en route for weekend duty and responded. Turns out that the alarm company for Mission Control had changed the dialing procedure of the alarm system and had not notified us. So we never got the alarm. We rectified the problem with Mission Control and we'll be getting all alarms going forward. Thank you, Steve, for calling. This is why we have red lights at most of the facilities as a backup that come on when we do get alarms. So we met with Andrew Ferguson from the Vermont Drinking Water Division regarding the T2 Pump House. We ordered the spare well pump for the water plant, 15 to 18 weeks for delivery. We have not received an invoice yet. The quote was $18,400 plus shipping. That's a considerable savings from the $25,000 quote we had received from them in November. And the water loss for April was 13%.
Thank you, Dan. Are there any questions for Dan?
Yeah, the roller press, we still looking like we're staying in the budget on that, Dan?
On the belt press?
Yes.
Yep, right, as it stands right now, going through the company we went through, I believe we're gonna see a significant savings on that.
Well, keep
Still waiting on the brief. Again, hard to believe, I know. But we just placed the order for about $13,000 for the rollers. The gearbox is about $2,000, so we're looking at $15,000, and we'd set aside $20,000 for that. So we should come in hopefully a couple thousand less. The shipping obviously will be added onto that price. So, and they're 400 pounds a piece, so they won't ship. It'll cost some money, but I think we're gonna cut them in well under it. So
Good job.
Good. Any other questions for Dan? Thank you.
all
I'm going to read the electric department report before he emailed it to us. Electric department on April 19th, there was an outage that affected 30 customers near 21 River Road West. Service was interrupted at 2 a.m. and was restored at 7 a.m. The cause was a high wind event where a tree snapped the overhead lines off multiple poles. Related to the same wind event, 2 secondary service lines were repaired at 450 and 441 Clay Hill. The crew energized a new 400 amp service at 120 Vermont Route 100C. The crew repaired the secondary service lines at 105 Gillen Ave. On April 26th, a primary neutral conductor was repaired at 1969 Route 15 West. To make this repair, an outage was required, which affected 6 customers for half an hour. On May 1st, there was an outage on Gould Hill Road that affected 23 customers. The suspected cause was an overvoltage condition related to the 150 kilowatt solar array in that area. On May 3rd, the crew participated in the spring ISO New England voltage reduction test. All equipment worked properly with no issues. During a routine substation check, the crew found the control panel for the R2 breaker that serves NVU was in fail mode. A substation technician from Hyde Park Water and Light came and worked with the crew, and it was determined that there was a poor connection in the control cable. A temporary repair was made, and we are currently planning to transfer the load from NVU onto our R1 breaker so the cable can be replaced. Multiple street lights were repaired on Vermont Route 100C. We were able to take advantage of the traffic control that was hired for the Jolly job and had time left in the day to assist with this task. The crew installed the new 3-phased overhead lines that will serve the new Jolly EV charging station. The crew has also been working on in-house right-of-way cutting. The crew also completed monthly meter readings, high-low checks, substation check, and dig safes. Water and sewer. Water service was turned on at the old Subway building on Lower Main Street. Water service was turned on at lot 25 at Katie Wayne. High water usage was reported at the food shelf, which turned out to be a toilet running through. A water meter was installed at the cemetery on Memorial View Drive. General Department. The crew completed spring cleanup at the municipal building, village garage, Cold Spring, and the village green. The crew worked with a contractor for the state of Vermont to complete the street sweeping on both sides of Route 15 through the village. The crew has also started in-house street sweeping, which should be completed within the next few weeks. The crew installed 2 fence posts in the arboretum for the tree board. The NVU banner was hung across Pearl Street for graduation. Both of the village's dump trucks were serviced and inspected. Safety. The entire crew completed the required annual CPR, first aid, and AED training, which was put on by Vermont Local Roads. They also completed a flagging course, and this certification is good for 2 years. Administrative. I have been working with Gary Nolan related to the planned fire suppression system at 599 Lower Main West. I created an estimated water sewer allocation for 93 Lower Main Street West and was in contact with the property owner to discuss it. I placed an order for electrical line materials to replace the stock that has been used during the past few months. I've been working with the passive related to an insurance claim for the repair on the digger truck boom. I have been in contact with the electrician who will be installing the EV charging station at the Jolly store. The transformer for the project is expected to be delivered within the next few weeks. The crew will be installing the primary underground wires that will serve that transformer. I made arrangements with V-Trans to coordinate the sweeping on Route 15 through the village. I made arrangements with Green Mountain Traffic Control to provide the needed flagging while the crew installed the new overhead service across Route 15 for the Jolly EV project. I had a meeting with Lion Electric related to the electric bucket truck. Currently, they have indicated they did not expect any increases in the truck costs above the estimate provided last year. I have requested this in writing. The truck is still expected to be delivered June or July 2023. I've been working with Engineering Ventures related to the next steps for the village garage project. Nate and I met with V-Trans to discuss the planned repaving of Route 15 through the village. The work is currently planned for the summer of 2023. During our walkthrough, we determined that little, if any, village infrastructure will be affected by the paving. I worked with Alexander Tree Service and reviewed the quote for their danger tree removal and right-of-way clearing, and I feel the estimate is in line with the costs that would be expected currently with any tree service company. The quote is for $19,800, and we budgeted $35,000 for contracted tree trimming service in 2022. Nate and I feel once this work is completed, most of our current tree issues will be taken care of. I will be asking Alexander Tree Service to add the village as an additional insured on their liability policy. I attended the May VEPSA board meeting virtually. Topics discussed at the meeting included an update on the AMI project, rates for low-income customers, and power supply costs. As a reminder, if the village wants to participate in the on-bill financing project for weatherization costs, we need to let VEPSA know soon. That was submitted by Troy Dolan. And I see that Elise is here from Momentum.
Yes.
So at this time, we're going to go into executive session to discuss the proposed contract for the village crews that Elise has written for us. So
Do we go back there?
we have to stay here because Ken's on Zoom. We'll just have to ask Kelly to leave and the rest of us can stay. No, we don't need you, Donna.
Is it okay if I go in that room? Like,
That's perfectly fine and Kelly can too. If she wants her outside and we'll come and get you.
Steve, we don't want to just go with the next two items and then it's just executive session. Yeah, you only got two more items that I can see on here.
So I've done the fire department report. I've done
Community
the tree quote, that's an executive session. The community and economic development position on the warning. That's one that we need to discuss now. That's an action item, I believe. All right, if you'll bear with us for a minute, please, we'll try to get that one done. The other two are executive sessions also, the contract with Jim Fontaine. So this action item, the community and economic development position be placed on the warning that we already have the election set up for. Is there? Were you the one that put that on there, Diane, I believe?
Yeah.
Do you
So,
want to discuss that?
I wanted to have, it's Article 2 on the special meeting for the Village of Johnson to extend up to $30,000 for the purpose of community and economic development position.
so that would go on the same ballot as the voting for the trustee.
Correct.
Exactly.
So didn't we just put this on and it failed?
Well, it tied.
It's tied.
That's a
It
fail.
was very close.
Well, it failed legally, but it tied.
It was
Right,
tied.
so that's a fail. My point with this is this board isn't here just to keep asking for money. We should explore another option. It technically failed. You know, that's a huge increase. Right now, we have a lot of expenditures going on and on that we have no budget for.
Well, that's partly why we need the community development coordinator, because there's a lot of money available out there that would help us with these.
Correct. That also includes match money and a 28% tax increase. So, you know, in reality, like I just said, it was voted down. This board should attempt to come up with the money another way before we immediately go back and ask a little over a month and a half ago for the same thing again. You know, we're not doing our job if we just keep going back and saying, well, we need more money. Well, we need more money. We need more money. There is other options. And apparently the only ones that, you know, that, I mean, I can come up with a couple other. We don't need to ask for a 28% tax increase. So we ought to try to do something about that. And I'm awful curious as to why, Diane, you didn't bring this up to any of us before this meeting and not having a chance to talk about it. That's all.
This is when we discuss it. I mean, this is when
We never discussed this, so I don't know what you're talking about.
we discuss it in public, like what we are doing right now.
You have it down as an action item, not just a discussion. So again, this board is missing another member and we're missing a manager. I think we need to be fiscally responsible and not put more burden on the general public. I mean, come on. We just heard Dan talk about the expense of fuel and he's afraid to wait and wants to fill up the tanks now. You're paying $4.50 a gallon for gas. That's a big increase on everybody. And this board is not paying attention to what our job to start is. And that's to be fiscally responsible with the budget the voters approved. They did not approve our $30,000 economic development person. So, you know, you're going to put it back out there again because it failed. That's your answer to this?
I would not have asked for it to be placed on the special voting day, but it's a way to get the people to say it again. If it ties, then it ties. But if it passes, then we get to hire an economic development grant writer position person. And I think we can, if we weren't going to have a voting day, I would not have brought it up. But
That's-
since we are, I would like it placed as an article and have people vote on it. I don't think it hurts. And let's let the people vote for it or not.
We just did that.
Anything you want to say, Linda?
Yeah, I guess if we weren't doing the election anyway, then I would not do a special election just for this, but because we are, I guess I don't know if it hurts anything to have it on the ballot, and it was a tie. It wasn't an out and out no, and the potential to save thousands and thousands of dollars is there. If we end up with a grant writer. I was on the school board when we had a grant writer in the office at the school, and the school got thousands of dollars because of her. So that they never would have gotten, and we had positions in that school that we never would have been able to fund without the grant writing. And none of us know how to write grants. None of us have that expertise, and none of us have the time even to try it. So I just think that yes, it's money, but I think that it's money well spent.
No, well, yeah, but it's money, you're correct. But you're spending other people's money, and we just had a vote, and the answer is
Okay. Ken, you're starting to repeat yourself.
no, I'm not, Steve. I'm not repeating myself. I'm answering her what she
You're
just
saying
said.
the same thing you just said.
Yeah, whatever. All I'm gonna tell you right now is that you guys are not being fiscally responsible whatsoever. It was voted down. You're wanting to increase people's taxes on your choice only right now. The legal way to do that is for somebody to file a petition to bring this to the board and then have us decide. We do not need to go to a voter. They already said no. So, I mean, until you guys, you got a lot of great ideas, but you're not thinking at all about the budget. That's all I'm trying to get through your heads. So you're talking about raising taxes after this has come through tuition, and everybody said no. 50-50 tie is no matter how you look at it. So why don't we try to do something other than ask again, like little kids asking their parents over and over and over? The parents said no. Try something
You have a
different.
suggestion, Ken, on
Yeah.
what to do different?
What's your alternative?
Well, why don't we have a work group and sit down and discuss it? I mean, that's how you solve these kinds of issues. You don't just throw stuff back out to the vote over and over and over. It's kind of redundant. If we don't try on our own, what good is this board? We're just, I mean, there's ARPA funds. I think if you look into it, that could be used for part of that. But that's not even a question. We already used 150 grand to balance our budget. I mean, you're not thinking about that whatsoever. I guess you all forgot that we used 150 grand of ARPA money to balance the budget, so we didn't raise taxes, but yet you want to raise it 28%. That just don't make no sense. And I don't know how any one of you on that board right there could sit there and tell me that makes sense after it was voted down.
Okay, Ken, you've said your piece and made your point. So we can consider doing the petition, Diane, and doing it that way.
Well, that would mean another whole vote.
It would.
Actually, we can't do that petition. The members of the public has to do that petition.
Okay.
Right, but if they did it, that would mean another whole vote and spending money on that. And this way, this is already in motion to have this election. So the work for that is already done. Type a couple more sentences on that ballot, it's not gonna It's not gonna hurt anything. If it gets turned down, it gets turned down. That's right.
I don't understand, Linda, how you're not paying attention to what I said. You
Well,
are
I
not
am paying
being fiscally
attention, but you know, I've learned over the years that sometimes you have to spend money to make money.
You're
And
spending other
I
people's
am
money.
paying attention, Ken. I'm listening to you.
You're
I am
spending
listening.
other people's money.
I know that. I'm aware.
I don't think you do, apparently. You're just willing to do something without
We're
even.
spending other people's money all the time and we're saving a lot of other people's money. There's so many
We haven't
things we need that we don't have right now. And so there's a lot of money being built up too. And we
There's no
need
sense
some
of
people.
discussion that you three have already made up your mind, so take the vote.
Well, I'm in favor of grant writers, period, and it's, just because I've lived through it when I was on the school board, and grant writers can bring us in a lot of money.
Linda, 28% tax increase. I'm in favor of a grant writer also, but not at a 28% tax increase when it's the highest inflation since 50 freaking years. I mean, come on.
What do you got?
Call the question.
Call the question. All those in favor of Diane's proposal?
I'll make the official motion.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I make a motion to include, the voters authorizing the village of Johnson to raise appropriate and extend up to $30,000 for the purpose of community and economic development, which will be Article 2 of the special meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
The chair votes in favor as well. All opposed?
You didn't have any discussion.
You have anything new you want to say?
Yeah, I want to say again, I want everybody to know that I'm the only one on this board that's doing the math. That you three are not doing the math on this situation whatsoever. And I'm glad that Diane and Steve and Linda have money enough to pay a 28% tax increase and to force another question on a budget that's already been denied.
Is that all, Ken?
I would have kept going, Steve.
The motion passes. We'll do a roll call vote. Diane?
Aye.
Linda? Ken?
Nay.
Chair votes in the positive. The motion passes 3-1. We need a motion to go into executive session to discuss the proposal from Momentum Vermont.
I move that we go into executive session.
Well, we need the wording here for. Do you have it by any chance? Wait a minute. I'm-
So, I move to go into executive session for a contract with Momentum Consulting for sessions for the electric crew, VSA section 313A1A.
Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Sorry.
Ken?
Nay.
Chair votes aye, so the motion passes. So we're now going to executive session.
The roll call.
Well, I guess if it wasn't unanimous, you have to do a roll call vote.
Okay, Diane?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Ken?
Nay.
Chair votes aye, so it passes 3-1.
So do you want me to go home now or stay around for the hell?
We have, I don't know if we have anything else that won't be in an executive session.
First, you know, that's a rep. Yeah, we skipped over that.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. We didn't do.
Yeah, I guess you please stick around then, Diane, Donna.
Okay, I'll just go in that room and
Okay,
I'll
thank you.
do some work for you guys.
Thank you.
So BJ, you're gonna have to leave, and somebody that says iPad, who's that?
Copy that.
I think Jay.
So I'm in favor of that.
So are you looking for a motion, Mr. Chair?
We're waiting for,
Kelly's not here.
oh, yes, I am.
So I'd motion we do a preliminary contract with Momentum Communications in the amount of up to $2,500 for mediation with the line crew for phase 1 upon lawyer approval.
Is there a second to that motion?
For mediation with the line crew, what was the next part? Something about lawyer approval?
Upon lawyer approval.
Contingent on lawyer approval?
Yes. Second.
We have a second. Is there any more discussion?
Actually, I should make an amendment to that we were gonna have one trustee at the group meeting.
Okay.
Is that a friendly amendment to you, Diane?
I believe we need to vote on that amendment first.
I second.
I feel like we're still kind of in the process of making the motion. I think you could just decide that's what the wording of the motion is going to be.
I
So you're
second.
good with that, Donna?
I'm good with that. You guys are.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Would you like me to read it again?
Please.
So I motion we accept a preliminary contract with Momentum Communications in the amount up to $2,500 for mediation with the line crew upon lawyer approval for phase 1 with one trustee, I believe Linda, in attendance.
At the group meeting. Is there a second to Ken's motion?
second.
All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Aye.
Vote. Passes unanimously. Thank you, Elise, for coming.
Okay, so I'll send you something
Great.
and we'll go from
We
there.
look forward to.
I'll send you
Good
the,
luck with your surgery
thank you. I'll send you some dates too.
and have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
And when you send that, Elise, when you send that, could you make sure to send it to all trustees, please?
I will. I think, can you, I don't know if I have everybody's email. I looked for them. I didn't see them on the website unless I missed it.
It should be on that village, on the town website. Right?
Everybody's email?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
If not,
I'll ask.
okay, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have fun celebrating.
Thank you. My guy fell apart too, so. You go ahead, I'm sorry.
The next item on the agenda is to discuss this Alexander tree quote. So we need a motion to go into executive session for that.
I don't think so.
Well, if there's no,
I don't.
the public is all gone, so.
I don't believe we need to because we budgeted up 35,000 and the
Yeah.
bids up
Right.
for that.
Okay,
Right. Thank you.
So I would motion we use Alexander Tree Service in the amount of 19,800. I believe that's what it was.
there's a second.
No second.
Any discussion on it?
Yes, well, So I know I think this is the tree company that they usually get, right?
No, they couldn't get that company.
Oh, okay.
That company, Troy believes, is contracting with much bigger municipalities, and he had trouble finding someone to give us a quote. He said it's getting more and more difficult.
Oh, okay.
So, he explained, like I read in the thing tonight, there's about 35,000 budgeted for removing dangerous trees, and this leaves still a pretty healthy amount in case there's a storm or something.
Right.
My wife and I looked at one of these trees today, the first one on the list, which happens to be right at the end of our road, and these are complicated trees that require a lot of expertise.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge tree right over a pole and a bunch of lines, and it's a dead tree.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything I haven't looked at all the trees on this list, but that's just my opinion.
So I have a question. What happens when it says, leave the firewood? What happens to that wood?
It's on property.
It belongs to whoever lives there?
Correct. And they have the option of giving it away or using it or whatever. It's less expensive. It keeps the cost of the.
So they don't, so what if the property owner says, what are you doing leaving all this wood on my property? You guys need to get rid of it. They put the tree in.
It's their tree.
It's their tree. So does there have to be permission from them to take the tree down?
Not,
It's in the right of way.
not, it's the power right of way. So that's why we can do it.
The other reason we need to use a specific contractor is they have to have special certification to do line cutting. So you can't just hire Barrett's Tree Service and stuff. They're not certified for power line clearing.
And we didn't have to put this out to bid because it's over a certain amount.
Well, the thing about it is, the prices are reasonable, and it's if we put it out to bid, we might not even be able to get it done this summer, and so.
And I don't believe.
Ask the other. Troy asked the other.
I don't believe we need to put it out to bid.
What'd you say, Ken?
Don't believe it needs to go to bid because we had a $35,000 budget approved by the public for this already. So as long as we're under that budget, there should never been an issue whatsoever. And I believe Troy said last time it was 25,000. So if this day and age we're $5,100 below that, we're doing good.
Yeah, those prices look pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah, I mean, the guy I just worked for had one tree taken down in Burlington, and it cost him $2,000 to get Barrett Tree Service there, not to cut the tree, but to get them there because of their equipment.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But
All right, I'm looking for a motion.
I motioned, we were in discussion.
Oh, that's right, we were in discussion, sorry. Is there a second? Is there any more discussion?
No.
Is there, we have a second? Call the question.
Aye.
Diane?
Aye.
Linda? Chair votes aye, it passes, it's unanimous. The next item on the agenda is to appoint a VEPSA representative.
So I talked to Ken Nolan today about Elise and this. And so I asked him if somebody really needed to know electric stuff, and he said no. And he also said that that a trustee could do it. So I think that if nobody has any issues about me doing it, I would try it out, go to the meetings and save us those 5 hours that a month
At
that,
$85 an hour.
yeah. So I would give it a try.
I'm fine with that. If you're volunteering.
And the other thing that he said is that they really do try to get trustees or, you know, whatever board there is to really become a part of the VEPSA group, that monthly group. And he says you get a few emails during the month. You get what's happening statewide that you can also take home and use in your village. So I would be willing to give it a try. And if like it's over my head or whatever, then I will come back and say, it's really not for me.
We have to vote on
Okay?
that.
Pardon?
Do we have to vote on that, or do you just?
I believe we do. How do you feel about that, Ken?
I don't know. I mean, I think you're taking on more than you really want, Diane. It's a different option. I think what he meant by us taking part is not being the member of it, but taking part of the meetings to further our knowledge. I distinctly remember there was a lot of interaction and decision based on knowledge from Meredith and Troy's conversations in the past. Not that you're not knowledgeable, but I'm pretty sure you don't know nothing about electrical right now.
No, I told him that. I told Ken that, and he said it would be really great if you did. And what I'm saying is, I may
He said
be
it would
over
be
my
great.
head, but let me give it a try and see how it goes. I'm not gonna go to those meetings if I'm not gonna bring the important information back to the trustees. And if it's over my head, I will state that.
Now, he said that you as a sitting trustee can be the VEPSA representative. That's not a conflict when they come here and ask us for buying shares and all that. I think that's a huge conflict in my opinion. But if the board's going with it, go with it. I'm just saying, you're going to be in a position of you're going to be in a position of discussing the shares way before it's ever brought to us about buying 5,000 extra shares again. So that,
I'm not sure that is what happens, but you know what? Let me ask. Okay?
my all around point is we've already agreed to Troy's contract where he stated he would do it. Now, the only reason I suggest we stay with him is because of the knowledge of it. If you want to do it, that's your call and the board's call. I'm just saying that I think that you're embarking on something that's above and beyond you, Diane, not taking it personally. I'm just saying that I wouldn't do it. And I have way more electrical experience and knowledge of what's going on with it than I think you do. And I wouldn't do it. I don't know, you may be a master electrician and I don't know that, I guess, but.
How did you know?
So that's my only concern with it. And like I said, you're listening to a whole VEPSA board discuss about how great it is for us to buy in on these extra shares and all that other stuff. And going to get persuaded before you come to this board where we're presented with this stuff to make an actual factual decision on it based on what our village is going through at the time. So again, I don't know what they do, but I think you ought to just think long and hard about it. That's all.
Well, there's two sides to this. Diane is trying to save money for the board, and it's not cheap to have Troy go to a meeting if it's not necessary for at $85 an hour for 5 hours. But
Rosemary, would it violate Troy's contract if we didn't include that in there? Because I don't want to do that. You know?
That were specific tasks in the contract.
No, I can't remember, and I don't have it with me.
I thought we already appointed Troy as the VEPSA representative. That's why.
no, he said that it had to be official, voted by the trustees. And that's why it's an item on tonight's agenda. That's what he told me.
Okay, I thought we did that when we signed his contract. That's all.
No, I think he was doing it end of that month that he was working. I think he went, I think it was that last month, but.
No, he agreed to do it as long as we needed him to.
Excuse me?
That he agreed to do it as long as we needed him to when we discussed it. But if you want to do it, do it. I'm not telling you not to. I was just saying that I think there could be a slight conflict down the road if you decide you're doing it and you like it. That might be the problem.
You can ask,
Yeah, well, if Ken is saying that other trustees do it, then I don't think he would be suggesting something that creates a conflict with any town or
And
village.
they probably have a full board, Steve. So if Diane's got to come back and recuse herself, we barely have a quorum.
Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know if anything, so can we just table this for now? Well, actually, I was looking, their meetings are, I believe, the first Wednesday of the month, and I am not here this coming month. Because
Troy's been going by Zoom. Anyway, he hasn't even been going to the meetings.
Oh,
The
okay.
last meeting he attended was by Zoom.
Okay, so can we do this? Can we let Troy go for this coming month? And then I will look into it, and then if Ken says there's a conflict of interest, I will gladly let Troy do it. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Well, again, nothing to Ken Nolan, but he doesn't have a right to tell us if there's a conflict of interest. It's this board that would have a conflict of interest if you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm getting at. But Diane, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. I'm just saying, I think there could be a few issues down the road where you might have to recuse yourself.
Yeah, and I'll go check. I'll check around and find out.
I mean, bravo for wanting to do it. I'm not saying that, so don't get me wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm just gonna find out, because that's what we gotta do.
I think we've covered the agenda.
So we're gonna ask Troy to go again for another month, and we're gonna table this till Diane finds out more.
Correct.
Okay,
We're probably gonna have to have a special meeting to discuss hiring a headhunter to help us find a village manager, and I have a good proposal, but I need to get more information from them. Because of the fact that I was hopeful about the candidate we had tonight, I did not pursue this company any further, and this company was recommended to us by VLTC, and I got a response from them immediately, but we need to get it. We need to take a number of actions to try to get a manager in place. So it sounds like we're going to need to have a special meeting for that, and then we can do like we always do, have a couple of other items on the agenda.
yeah, so can we do it before the 17th? Otherwise,
What is,
today's the 9th.
you're leaving, so we're gonna have to, or else kick the can down the road till you get back, or have you guys attend on Zoom.
Can we do this Friday?
Yeah, Friday night, I have a meet, yeah, I could do Friday night. I have a meeting with Troy and the engineers for the village garage at 4. But
I can also,
I could do 6 Friday. How about you, Ken?
Yeah, we gotta.
Yeah, I think we gotta get moving on this
yeah,
village manager pretty quickly.
Is this the company that we already had the proposal from one time, or?
No, I don't think we've ever gotten one from them. They're in New Hampshire. It's called Recruitment, it's called Municipal Resources Incorporated.
Okay, just throwing this out there, but did you try to look for somebody in Vermont?
These guys do all over New England.
I get that.
You've reached
I get
out,
that.
you've reached out to some people in
I
Vermont,
reached out
correct?
to two, and one of them never returned the call, and the second one said she does not do this kind of work.
And you?
Mine said that they were going to send me information and they still haven't. I called them twice. So.
Do you have any ideas, Ken?
No, I was just making a suggestion that we check Vermont first.
Right, well, this is through the Vermont League of Cities and Towns that we got this.
And that's what the woman that I talked to, that's what she said to go for. She said they will give you the people to contact.
But I'll get more information for this meeting on Friday night.
Time to work this stuff.
Is there time to warn that, Rosemary?
Yes.
I think I can be here. Something is telling me. They'll be great, and then
When is it you're leaving, next Wednesday?
Tuesday again.
We also didn't cover the Jim Fontaine thing.
Oh,
in the
right.
executive session. But you know,
We don't need to go into executive session for that since
you were the only ones.
we're the only ones.
Do we still have to say it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Not being recorded.
Okay. So I make a motion to go into executive session for a contract regarding Jim Fontaine for 3 training sessions for the electric crew. BSA section 313A1A.
Is there a second?
So
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
So you want to describe this in a little more detail, Diane?
yeah, sorry.
Oh, yeah. This will be quick, Don.
Good.
In fact, she can probably go.
Yeah, you could go and we'll tell you what time we adjourn.
Okay, if it's,
You're gonna have an emotion, aren't you?
Yeah.
if it's gonna be